Today on the TMZ Podcast.
Welcome to the TMZ Podcast. Harvey Levin here.
Courtney here.
And Jason.
So we broke a big story over the weekend. J-Lo and Ben Affleck have, they're in escrow on a house, a massive house in Bel-Air.
Stunning.
Around $55 million, and they are buying it together and they are blending their families. So the smaller story is they're buying this house together. The bigger story is how far can marriage be if they're doing this? I mean, it seems to me that's what's going on here, right?
I'm actually surprised this has happened before the engagement.
See, I'm really not, because the engagement happened first last time and it didn't go well, so I feel like they wanted to do something a little bit differently now.
But clearly that was a long time ago. They were kids. Now they're adults. Now they're buying a $50 million house together. They have kids. They're blending the families. You don't blend families like this unless you are preparing to make it a permanent thing.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, clearly. So, look, by the way, this house is ridiculous.
Beautiful. 17 bathrooms, 10 bedrooms. I'm like, what? There's not even enough people in that whole entire house to use all of those rooms.
Well, no, they have, she has...
She has two kids.
No, she has...
No, she has the
two
twins.
kids.
Yeah, and then he has three.
3 kids,
Yeah.
so that's 5 kids, 2 of them.
Right.
That's math.
Nannies.
Matt Damon's kids.
Matt Damon's kids.
Probably just Matt Damon himself.
But anyway, so this is in Bel-Air. It's not a done deal because they still have to go through inspections and all that other stuff. But they want this house, and
who wouldn't? This house is
it
the
is
property.
Something else. For the aerial shots alone are enough to make you just see that the way the other half lives in a very profound way.
It's not a half.
It's
not half.
Let me just tell you, I was looking for apartments this weekend. Nothing like
Something
that.
like that, yeah.
The guy that owned it, or that owns it now, is a Texas billionaire, and he just gutted this thing and refurbished it. And we didn't put all of the pictures up. You can see the house.
Right.
But when you look at it's got a movie theater, it's got a gym, it's got everything. So.
And it seems pretty private, like the lot that it's on.
Super private with this sweeping view of the city. But again, I think the bigger thing is that they're clearly getting married.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that they, I guess a year ago last month is when he started texting her.
Oh, interesting.
And they formally kind of got together in May.
Mm-hmm.
But so, look, it's not like this happened overnight, and they have all this history together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's easier to take that plunge because you certainly know the good times, the bad times. You've been together for a long time. The 17 bathrooms really allow for the siblings, because every movie cliche is the siblings fight over the bathrooms. Here, new siblings. Here you are not going to have that.
Oh, my God. Okay, so we are now moving on to Kanye because, you know what? I want to talk about the Grammys first.
Mm-hmm.
And I have radically changed my opinion about this. Radically. I mean, I did a live shot today. And as I started talking, I started getting more and more upset about it. But here's the deal. The Grammys essentially have made Kanye persona non grata because of the things he's saying on social media about Kim and Pete and everybody else. How ridiculous, how hypocritical. Are they looking at every single entertainer, singer, to look at their history? And I wonder how they match up to Kanye West, because Kanye did not do anything violent.
He made some
I know
threats.
He did. Well, you know what? Look at some of the other people who were at the Grammys and look at what they've done in the past. This is...
Morgan Wallen wasn't allowed to go.
I understand that. But also, but I think there's a difference with a racial epithet by a white guy.
Okay.
And even that. But look, the bottom line is that if you start looking at what other people in entertainment have in their backgrounds, criminal prosecutions and whatnot, I wouldn't ban any of them. They're not there. I mean, look, in some cases, yes, but they're not there because of, the fact that they were once married to Kim Kardashian and that they're having a problem with the divorce. They're there because they're singers.
But you don't think that Kanye West may take the opportunity if he was on stage
So
to
what?
Go? But they don't want that. They don't want that.
Well, okay.
They don't want him to go on a rant and to do that. He's done it before.
Do you know
multiple times.
the speeches
But what he is saying.
So what you're doing is you're sanitizing. You can say this, but you can't say this. You can say that, but you can't say that. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Let's be clear. The Grammys are a private company. They can do whatever they want.
Okay, I'm so glad you said that.
And they can do whatever they want.
Right.
And if they want to make this, I'm not even taking a side on this. I sort of see the perspective in that he's kind of a pain in the ass.
He is a pain in the ass.
And they don't want to have to deal with him. And some of the other artists might be like, look, if Kanye's there.
You know what? Elton John's been a pain in the ass over the years.
But the Grammys has a decision to make each and every time. The Grammys has to your point, the Grammys has allowed people to sing or to at least appear who have tremendously violent pasts and who have perpetuated acts of violence.
Right.
But in this case, the Grammys is like, Kanye's too much
No,
of a
I get
pain.
it. I get it.
Yeah.
But
over it.
Before we started this podcast today, I asked you to read this article in the New York Times today.
Yes.
Did you look at it?
I did.
So in this article, it says 84% of the people in this country are either strongly afraid or somewhat afraid to speak their mind for fear of being criticized.
Right.
We are looking at Ukraine, where these poor people are fighting for freedom, and we're just squandering it.
Are you really comparing?
I know.
No. What I'm comparing is that, I mean, if you look at this article, it's true on the left and on the right.
Sure.
You know, people are afraid to speak anymore. And I understand it's not the government doing that, but it's one step removed from.
Kanye's not speaking it. Like, Kanye's speaking to two people and making like very threatening remarks towards them. He's not like
very threatening.
Yes,
it's almost cartoony.
Hardly. I don't know that you
almost
can say
cartoony.
that.
I agree with your point. You and I have, for a long time, and other people as well, but you and I specifically have been critical of cancel culture for years now, as it started to emerge in 2017, 2018.
And even the New York Times is now.
And the New York Times is this article today, which I read at your urging, is really critical of cancel culture and talks about the dangers of it and is trying to pull back from that. And I agree with all that stuff. I just don't think that this is really that good of a piece of evidence.
I'm not saying it's the biggest thing in the world, but it's just more evidence. It's like, how stupid. Honestly, how stupid that what are they going to do? Are they going to now sanitize the Grammys, or we're going to look at this relationship and we don't like the way they're dealing in this relationship?
They do paint themselves no
He didn't do anything violent. There are probably, I'm sure if we looked, there would be people who were accused of domestic violence who were invited.
But also, how does domestic violence start? This you know, like there's different
But
causes
we've seen domestic violence completed, and they still do this.
Not just domestic violence, street violence, all sorts of
things.
Right.
But again, this is an award show for music.
Was he supposed to perform? And they
or did they ban him when he wasn't going to do it anymore?
Yeah, like that's what I want to know. Like, was he set to be a performer?
Here's what I think the ultimate problem is. Nobody watches the Grammys anymore, right? The ratings go down, and now you take the biggest, most controversial, and therefore, interesting artist in the world, and precluding him. I don't know, as a business perspective, from a business point of view, that's a very good move.
They just suck. And I mean, look, you've got all these entertainers who have said, that the Grammys doesn't recognize, certain areas of music and everything else. And all these award shows, they're so ridiculous. It's like, I get it that there are these rich, beautiful people who pat each other in the back and everything else, and they're entitled to do that. But at the same time, it's like, oh my God, it's, enough.
What are we celebrating?
Yeah. Well, even Trevor Noah came out in support of him and was like, I said, counsel him, not cancel him.
I know. And I love Trevor Noah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just so smart.
Yes.
And very handsome.
Okay, so we are going to move. We are going to move on. Now, on the other side of this is Julia Fox, Kanye's ex-girlfriend.
Well, yeah, Julia Fox actually said that she hasn't seen the most recent Instagram post that Kanye was posting and that she doesn't have Google alerts, which I don't know if that's true. But she was like, believe it or not, I have a life and a son and I don't have Google alerts for this man. I thought this question was in reference to the music video. And that's when he was killing Pete Davidson and burying his head in a roses in the cartoon music video.
She is backtracked.
Yeah.
Well, she's saying, okay, so the music video didn't rise to that level, but she hadn't seen the Instagram post. Apparently now she has, and has a different opinion. So she's actually saying, based on the Instagram post, I actually think it might be a danger to Pete and to
if I would have saw this, I would have not had that take at all about the situation.
Right. Or just would have kept her mouth shut, which is what she should have done. No, she's a free woman. She can speak her own mind if she wants to, but to get imbued in this controversy, I just think it's not a good move for her.
No.
I think because she is part of the conversation for her, from her vantage point, it is a good move.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Keeps it relevant.
honestly,
you might be onto something. Yeah.
I mean, the way the dynamic works is, somebody who's kind of a working actor, which she was, with some fame. All of a sudden, she starts dating Kanye, and all of a sudden, her star goes shoots up to the skies, and that's intoxicating.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's intoxicating.
Yeah, because it was a very fast rise.
That's her business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you think it was? None of this was pre-planned, right?
I don't think it's pre-planned, but I mean, and I don't criticize her at all for this. I mean, look, it's her business, and the fact. I mean, the best example of this is Pete Davidson.
Right.
So Pete Davidson dates Kim Kardashian, and he's kind of this working guy on Saturday Night Live, and now he's this enormous star.
Right.
I know.
So she's looking at this, saying, "How do I get some of that?"
Right.
And this is how she gets some of that.
Right. It's the Kardashians have, and the people in their orbit have been using their relationships to elevate their fame forever. And she is now. That was a very short run for her, and now she's taking advantage of the 15 minutes, trying to extend it a little bit longer, and maybe effectively so.
And by the way, it's sort of like, I always think of it as a trapeze act in a circus, that you're going from one rung and you swing in the air and you jump to the next rung.
Right.
And you jump, at the right time before you fall.
Right.
And I think she's trying to jump to the next rung.
Right.
Yeah, because she was everywhere for a month, and everyone wanted to know everything about her, follow her, and now it's just kindly, slowly going down. And now you have Chancey Jones popping back up, and she's trying to stay there. She was hanging out with Madonna. Of course, you want to stay relevant.
I mean, it's
come on.
I know. Okay. So I was a little surprised at this, but really, I guess not, because Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher have just raised a fortune for Ukrainian aid.
Over $30 million.
$35 million, and Zelensky jumped on Zoom to congratulate them, which in the middle, at first I thought, in the middle of the war, really? But then I thought, you know what? This is really meaningful.
Yep.
And you can understand why he would do that. $35 million is a lot of money.
Yep.
And they desperately need it. And so
they're huge celebrities in the United States, so he definitely wants to.
And then, because I don't know if you guys saw this last week, that they were talking about, let's have Zelensky come address the Academy Awards. That, to me, would be awful.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes.
Am I crazy here?
No, it's really cringy.
Then it becomes sort of a kind of gross plea to.
Well, it's not just that. It's like you've got this. It's like, really, you want this audience to say, "Look how important we are." That we're. I'm sorry.
Fantastic of Mila and Ashton.
Fantastic,
amazing,
and this made a lot of sense for him to be specifically go to them.
Absolutely.
And she's from Ukraine. She was born in
from
Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Yes.
It's brilliant of him to.
Brilliant.
The world's cause is now Ukraine, and he wants to keep it that way. Not just for the money that can come in, the arms that he can buy with it, et cetera, but also for the pressure it continues to put on Vladimir Putin. It's easy for us to sort of normalize things, saying, well, it's happening over there. Putin's important for natural gas. It keeps we'll look at the inflation. If we keep this as the cause of the moment for as long as possible, and Zelensky's trying to do that, it keeps us on this. We'll suffer a little bit for Ukraine. It's important.
And two things. One is on this Academy Awards thing. The pitch was, we have a huge audience. Zelensky doesn't need a huge audience. Anytime he speaks, he gets a worldwide audience now. So he doesn't need
way bigger
that.
than the Academy Awards
Yeah,
audience.
right.
He doesn't need that. And in a way, that's not the image I think he wants to project.
It would be his most lowest viewed video ever.
Well, and also it's like it's almost like, he really is still an entertainer.
Yeah.
He is a war hero. And I mean, I'll tell you, when I watch, he spoke to the Israeli parliament.
Yeah, this week, yeah.
And the fact, the way he did this, with the Congress, he talked about 9/11 and Pearl Harbor. With Israel, he talked about the fact that Jews were kind of wandering without any homeland. And he said, we are in the same position you are in. So he really connected every time he speaks to a country, he connects it to them.
Yes.
So
He's
smart.
more of a salesman than an entertainer at this point. I don't mean that pejoratively at all.
That's what a leader should be.
That's what a leader should be. You sell your position to the world.
I mean, think about it. When this
He's
thing,
outstanding.
Oh my God, when this thing started, NATO was splintered. It wasn't clear that they would in any way align with Ukraine.
Yep.
And now, even Switzerland. I mean, it's
neutral Switzerland.
I know.
Neutral
throughout World War II.
And I mean,
And now they're like, no, not today.
what he has done to galvanize support is one of the most remarkable things I've seen in my lifetime.
And the country as a whole is rallying. There are a lot of reports. I mean, obviously, the Ukrainian military has fought the Russian military to a standstill, and a lot of that is based in the belief in country and leadership, and it's pretty impressive.
You know,
They keep refusing not to surrender. They said that again today.
And
Those
yet-
missiles that came out today,
Oh,
that
my
video
God.
was in. Did you see the missile video that we posted?
it's
Yes.
awful.
Oh my God.
It's just, I mean, they're decimating
And
cities
attacking
now.
civilian targets.
Yes.
and the
Oh
whole
my
thing.
God, they're
Yep.
just hospitals and
Yep.
kids and bomb shelters. Somebody's got to do something to Putin.
Yeah.
So,
I don't
I
know.
mean, I don't know whether the Russians just rise up, but I honestly, when you kind of look at this, I realize Putin has support in Russia, but I think he has support based on people who are listening to the Kool-Aid that he's,
Right.
dishing out.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine if people start seeing what he's really doing, that there isn't going to be a massive protest there.
Right. And there
hope
are
so.
all this talks about media bleed through. So he can't keep everything out despite the fact he's
And
trying like
good
hell.
on Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
I mean, that video he posted
Had to reach millions of them.
millions, and it was one of the most impactful things of the war so far because he is beloved in Russia, and the points he made were just so poignant. I just thought what Arnold did was one of the best things he's ever done.
No, it was because he also compared it to like his life and like made it personal like to him. Like
Yeah.
I like lived through this. Like it was awesome.
Okay, Johnny Depp. So Johnny Depp is suing Amber Heard in the United States for defamation, and this has to do with the whole divorce and everything that happened. Remember, he did this in England and lost. And I was shocked that he was picking this up. And I'll tell you why in a minute. But now this is about to go to trial, and he's got a witness list. And this witness list is crazy. He wants to call Elon Musk, who was dating Amber Heard.
Yep.
The timing of this is what he wants to get into. Elon Musk, James Franco, Paul Bettany. I mean, I don't understand why Johnny Depp is not letting this go.
It's been years.
And he lost a defamation lawsuit.
He
in
lost a
England, and it is
defamation
so
lawsuit.
much easier to prove and win defamation lawsuits
There.
in London.
Oh,
than it
wait,
is in
why?
England.
Because the laws are just very
okay.
different.
The laws are very different. They allow, and so the fact that he's going to come here, it's almost like it's very personal. And I've always made the claim, like lawyers drive nice cars to nice houses because people litigate on principle instead of litigating what's in everybody's best interest. He does not seem to have a good case here, and he's going to spend hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars on lawyers to try and prove a case. It seems unprovable.
Well, here's the problem.
All over again.
Beyond
Yeah.
all of that, if he loses this case, essentially what they're saying is truth is a defense. She says he abused her.
Right.
And people are going to then say, well, you see, the jury
Right.
decided. I don't know why he did this, because after the divorce, he was still getting roles and he dodged that bullet.
Yes.
I don't know that he's going to dodge the bullet now that he's doubled and tripled down.
I agree. That,
No, and lost multiple times. Like
Right.
Well, yeah.
He's continually reassociating himself with domestic violence and with the allegations that were posed against him. Now, he says they're false. That's all well and good. We don't know. But the fact that we continue to think of Johnny Depp in the context of his domestic violence allegations with Amber Heard, that can't be a good thing for his career, right? He becomes untouchable at some point.
You would think. And well, untouchable? You mean
Unhireable.
unemployable?
That's what I mean. Yes,
Unemployable.
that's what I mean. Yes.
I mean, I don't understand why he's doing this. And I think you're right. I think this is principle, and whatever happened,
Right.
it's what, like, it is one thing to know it and one thing to prove it.
Yep.
And it seems like he's going to have a hard time proving it. And if he loses this a second time, what are people walking away with? What's the takeaway?
that he did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Do you think Paul Bettany's like, oh my God, why did I get myself involved in this? Why am I on
Well,
this
and
witness
Elon
list?
Musk.
Yeah, Elon Musk, right. Elon Musk likes to be at the center of
I
controversy.
feel like Elon Musk likes to be involved in this.
Right,
like,
he's
weirdly.
got his $100 billion over there.
Yeah.
Paul Bettany's like a very successful but not A-list star, and I'm sure he's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean,
James Franco's like, I got my own issues. Like, leave me out of it.
Exactly.
Crazy. Okay. Have a good day today. We will see you Wednesday. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.